Welcome to another episode of Businesstalk podcast. I am Deepak, your host for today's episode. We are honored to welcome Dr. Denish Shah, Kenneth L. Bernhardt Distinguished Department Chair, and Barbara and Elmer Sunday Professor of Marketing at Robinson College of Business, Georgia State University, as our distinguished guest for today's episode. Dr. Denish is a distinguished marketing scholar and institutional leader at Georgia State University. He serves as Executive Director of the Marketing Roundtable, Founding Director of the Social Media Intelligence Lab, and Adjunct Professor at the Institute for Insight. His research encompasses customer management strategies, data and technology mediated marketing, and the societal implications of marketing practices. His scholarly contributions have appeared in premier academic journals, including the Journal of Marketing Research, Harvard Business Review, Marketing Science, Journal of Marketing, and Sloan Management Review. And he served as co-editor of the Handbook of Research on Customer Equity in Marketing. Dr. Shah's research has earned recognition as a finalist or winner of multiple prestigious awards, including the MSI Paul Root Award, ISMS Practice Prize Award, and Robert D. Buzzell MSI Award, alongside three dissertation-based honors. In 2015, he was named as MSI Young Scholar, and in 2018, he received the Varadarajan Award, recognizing an outstanding marketing professionals worldwide for their impact on marketing strategy and research within a decade of earning their PhD. Beyond academia, Dr. Shah regularly contributes marketing insights to leading media outlets, including NPR, USA Today, BBC, Newsweek, and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Educationally, Dr. Shah holds a PhD in marketing from the University of Connecticut, an MBA from École des Ponts Business School, France, and a Bachelor of Engineering from Mumbai University, India. He serves on the Executive Advisory Board of AMA Atlanta and the Board of Trustees of SMILE, a non-profit organization supporting underprivileged women and children in India. Today, Dr. Denish Shah discusses groundbreaking research on a question critical to every business leader, from data to dollars, linking marketing strategy to financial performance. Let's not keep you waiting. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Denish Shah to the podcast. Dr. Shah, we deeply appreciate your gracious acceptance of our invitation. It is an honor and privilege to host you today.
Thank you for the kind invitation as well as the introduction, Deepak, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. Dr. Shah, many marketing leaders struggle to justify their budgets to CFOs and boards. Why do you think there is such a persistent disconnect between marketing investment and demonstrated financial impact? And what does your research reveal about firms that have successfully bridged this gap?
Yeah. So, marketing is one function that deals with lots of fuzzy metrics. Think of marketing metrics like satisfaction, brand awareness, um, customer engagement. So there are so many metrics out there that are really fuzzy in nature. They are not very strongly correlated with financial outcomes. And a lot of stuff we do, right, in marketing does concern improving those metrics. And therein lies the problem because if you stop out there and if you only focus on these marketing output metrics, as I like to call, which are inherently fuzzy in nature, there's nothing wrong with those metrics, by the way. These are important metrics, but these are means to an end. And the end is usually revenue and profits, which are good, financial outcomes. Failure to connect uh, these fuzzy metrics with the outcome metrics, which is basically linking marketing output metrics, which are, satisfaction, brand awareness, customer engagement, sort of thing, with outcome metrics, which are revenues and profits, can create a downward spiral of marketing investment. A lot of marketing resources can be wasted on generating outputs that may not necessarily lead to financial outcomes. And we see that across so many firms that we've worked with, as well as research in the past.
Professor, can you walk us through the conceptual framework you have developed And what are the key variables and mechanisms through which marketing investment translate into dollars?
Yeah. So what we did in our research was we looked at precisely this problem that what can marketing organizations do if they were to link their marketing outputs to financial outcomes, right? And so we went to first principles and we said, well, fundamentally, what is the function of a marketing organization? And if you think of it, right, I mean, marketing does many, many things, but it basically boils down to one fundamental objective, which is increasing customer value, right? This is one job that marketing owns in its entirety. Uh, and then if you look at so if you look at a marketing organization or a CMO, right, the primary function is to increase or maximize customer value. And then if you look at the CEO, right, what is the fundamental objective of a CEO? Well, the answer is increasing firm value, right? The CEO wants to grow the firm and maximize the value of the firm. And so we said, well, if that's the case, and if we want to improve the alignment between the CMO and the CEO, and in that process, make sure that the marketing metrics are well aligned, right, with some of the financial outcomes or firm level outcomes, is there a way we can create that alignment? And if you think about it, stock price of a firm, right, is basically net present value of future potential of a firm. Okay, so that's basically the stock price reflects, right, the net present value of what's the future value of the firm. And if you think about it, in the marketing domain, there is a metric out there called customer lifetime value, which captures the net present value of the future worth of a customer. And it turns out that both of these metrics are fundamentally similar from a conceptual standpoint. And so we raised a question in our research that if there is a way, right, to connect or create a relationship between the lifetime value of customers and the stock price of the firm, which reflects nothing but the net present value of future potential of the firm, then there would be a much more tighter alignment. And then marketing activities that impact the CLV should also impact the stock price or the firm value of the firm. And so we created this framework where we ran a regression where we said that, well, let's make stock price as a dependent variable reflecting the value of the firm, and let's treat the lifetime value of the customers as an independent variable, along with, of course, some control variables out there, and see how this relationship plays out. Well, it turns out that firms where customers are the basic drivers, right, of firm value, and which is basically majority of the firms that are out there, because customers at the end of the day are the major drivers, right, of firm value. Uh, it can actually reliably predict the stock price of the firm. And so in our framework, that's basically what we do. And then what we did was we looked at how some of the marketing variables, that drive the lifetime value of customers, and it could be things like, how much you are selling to the customer. Is the customer buying additional products from you, like cross buying, cross selling? What is the what kind of communication promotions you can do to the customer so that they buy more from you. We took all those variables that can impact the lifetime value of the customer, and then over time we measured how that's impacting the stock price of the firm. And this framework can be used by pretty much any firm that's out there that is concerned with creating this very critical but often missing linkage.
Professor, digital and data-driven marketing strategies are increasingly common, yet many firms still struggle to measure ROI. What specific data points and metrics should marketing leaders be tracking to demonstrate financial impact?
Yeah, so when I talked about those fuzzy metrics earlier, right? Digital marketing is full of those metrics, right? It's record number of metrics that exist in digital marketing are fuzzy metrics. Think of likes, posts, number of posts. How much is the customer engaging with your campaigns? Click rate, click through rates. So many metrics are out there that are easily accessible to marketers, through dashboards of their campaigns, are mostly fuzzy metrics that entail customer engagement or customer reacting to your digital campaigns. What it doesn't do is how, to what extent, right, the number of likes that you got or the number of engagements that you got, is that indeed moving the needle when it comes to lift in revenue and profits? That is lacking, and those metrics are not easily available. So what firms need to do is, the onus is on them, is to take all these digital output metrics, okay, likes, engagements, posts, and things like that, um, and then see how that is moving the needle in terms of incremental revenue and profits, or the lift in revenue and profits. Okay, it is very important that you measure the value of your digital efforts, digital campaign efforts, not just in terms of increase in revenue and profits. It should be the lift in revenue and profits. And there is a difference between the two, right? So if right now we are at the cusp of Thanksgiving in the United States, a lot of sales happen across retail sectors. If I were to run any digital campaign, right, any retailer will run any digital campaign, sales are going to go up, right? Increase in sales is going to happen. But that would have happened anyways, right? Because people are in the holiday mindset and they are shopping, right? What you want to see is what is the lift in my sales through my digital marketing efforts. In other words, right? Customers who would have not bought from me anyways, right? Are they now buying because of my campaigns? And so this all boils down to linking those digital output metrics to financial outcomes.
Professor, attribution modeling in marketing has become more sophisticated, but it remains complex. How do you recommend firms approach marketing attribution in a way that both captures true value and remains comprehensible to finance and executive leadership?
Yeah. So attribution model has become very popular with lots of firms, right? But as you mentioned, it is complex, and the complexity is compounded when you are dealing with both online and offline channels. Okay, if you are staying only in the realm of online channels, it's much easier to track customers. But if you are using a bunch of offline marketing efforts, for example, TV ads, traditional TV ads, I'm talking of, and broadcast television, radio ads, print ads, billboards, posters, um, looking at, attributing that to sales becomes a huge challenge, right? So that's challenge number one. And challenge number two is, even if, let's say, you are able to track every single customer touch point, okay, that's out there. Okay, let's assume that you have a mechanism to do that. um, where a lot of firms fail is they put too much emphasis on the last touch, uh, or the last touch point that the customer did. And they put too much credit to that. And so they end up overspending on the channel that brought the customer into the store. But there could be a possibility that there were many other channels involved that basically brought the customer into the consideration set to begin with, right? So, for example, I may be driving, on Interstate 85 from my workplace, and I saw a billboard of new Cirque du Soleil show coming in, which caught my interest. And I would have never, thought of attending that show if I would have not seen the billboard. And so I came home and I looked it up online, checked out reviews for the show, and then went to Cirque du Soleil website, and then along the way I may just see a promotion, clicked on it, and purchased the ticket. Now Cirque du Soleil might think that it was the promotion online that brought the customer to their website, and they will attribute the sales entirely to that channel, but it could be many other things, right, that happened before. So long story short, right, what marketers need to do is, number one, they need to account for every single customer touch points, online, offline, whatever it is that they are doing, right, from a marketing standpoint. Figure out a way to track those touch points, and then take all of those touch points into account when you are doing the attribution. So your sales should the attribution of your sales, right, should be fairly divided across all customer touch points. Because we are living in a world where customers seamlessly move across channels, right? And they are inherently multi-platform, multi-channel users. So the onus is on firms now to make sure that they take those equations into account when they are doing their attribution modeling.
Professor, marketing creates both immediate revenue and long-term brand equity. How do you balance measuring short-term financial outcomes with longer-term strategic value? And how should this influence marketing strategy and budget allocation?
Yeah. So, you may have heard a lot of people talk about IT investment and marketing cost, right? So, marketing is very often, perceived as a cost, or marketing organization is perceived as a cost center. Okay, and that's fundamentally wrong. Okay, marketing should be treated as a very important and strategic investment. Long-term impact of marketing has to be taken into account in pretty much every single marketing decision that is taken. So while marketing tactics, right, like sales promotions are important, and every firm has to obviously look into that and plan for that, but in the bigger scheme of things, right, the long term impact of marketing is where really uh, the impact happens, right? And if you look at firms, right, let's look at S&P 500 firms, right, that are out there. 80 to 90% of the firm value of those S&P 500 firms is intangible in nature. Okay, it's probably about 10 to 20%, right, maybe linked to physical assets of these firms. Okay, majority, right, 80 to 90% comes from intangible value of the firm. So what is it, right? If you peel the layers of the onion and see what is it out there, right, when it comes to intangible value, chances are that majority of that intangible value is being driven by brand reputation or customer list that the firm has. If it's a B2B firm, then the list of customers becomes a important driver of the value of the firm. If it's B2C, it's brand reputation. So a lot of it, right, is under the domain of marketing that can drive the intangible value of the firm. And so CFOs, CMOs, CEOs, have to be cognizant of this and be more strategic when it comes to marketing spending. And it should be treated as an investment, not a cost.
Professor, you emphasize the link between marketing and shareholder value. Can you share a concrete example of a firm that strategically aligned its marketing approach to drive shareholder returns? And what did they do differently?
Yeah. So in our research paper, which got published in Journal of Marketing and then got picked up by Sloan Management Review, and the title was "Can Marketing Increase Stock Price?" Um, we basically looked at two Fortune 500 firms. We worked very closely with them. Because of confidentiality, I cannot reveal the name, but one is a S&P 500 IT firm, primarily in the B2B space, and the other is a B2C firm, again S&P 500, high fashion retailer. Uh, um, and so what we did there was we developed a framework that I mentioned earlier, where we said, look, here is the way you can link the lifetime value of your customers with the stock price of your firm. And now let's do this. Let's look at all the marketing efforts that you can do, which involved acquiring customers that showed characteristics of high potential CLV, cross-selling to customers, existing customers, um, looking at favorable demographics of customers that can be nurtured because they have a higher propensity, right, to give you higher value downstream. So what we did basically was we formulated a bunch of tactics and strategies for the firm that were very CLV centric, lifetime value centric. Okay, and we said that look at this and don't look at past value of customers, don't look at current value of customers, look at future value. Okay, do anything and everything that enhances the future value of your customers. Okay, don't dwell in the past. Don't say that, oh, Deepak has been a very valuable customer to us in the past, so we are going to roll out the red carpet for him. Well, sure, do that if Deepak is going to give you value in the future. Okay. If not, you may want to use those resources for somebody else. So with that mindset, right, and with that plan, what we did was we worked very closely with these two firms and we created an experiment over a period of multiple months and asked the firm to put in place specific strategies that were directed at increasing the lifetime value of the customers. So they did that, and then we tracked the increase in CLV that occurred because of rollout of these strategies. Okay. And then what we did was based on that increase in CLV, we predicted the increase in stock price of the firm and we tracked that as well. And at the end of our field study that we did with these two firms, what we found was not only CLV was able to predict the lift in stock price, that lift outperformed not only the S&P 500, it also outperformed their closest competitors, by multiple folds. And so the firm was able to get um, a significant lift in firm value or the stock price of their firm. That was the proxy we used, for the firm value, just by manipulating relevant marketing variables that drove the future value of the customers.
Dr. Shah, MarTech and advanced analytics have transformed what's possible in marketing measurement. How are leading firms leveraging technology to create transparency and accountability between marketing investment and financial outcomes?
Yeah. So technology is playing a huge role now in marketing, and a lot of it is being used from an execution standpoint, right? So you want to achieve efficiencies in running your campaigns, um, your marketing efforts when it comes to not only developing your campaigns and content, but actually personalizing that information and sending it out to different customer segments or individual customers. So what this is doing is it's helping firms to achieve a lot of efficiencies. It's helping them do a lot of hyper personalization at scale. Throw in AI and the ability of AI, right, to basically do that at scale that was not possible earlier. Uh, all of this is helping firms to become a lot more relevant with their marketing messaging. Okay, gone are the days where you would have one single ad or one single copy that would be sent out to a entire segment of customers. Right now, I can, in real time, right, I can customize and personalize my messaging to the based on likes and dislikes or identity of every single customer that's out there. So technology is playing a very important role, and I think firms that are adopting those better than others, right, are also performing a lot better than firms that are not doing it.
Professor, from your research, what are the most common mistakes firms make when trying to link marketing to financial performance? And what opportunities do companies miss by failing to measure marketing's true impact?
Yeah. No, I think we sort of address that, right? And I think the most fundamental error is that they treat the marketing output as the ultimate end when it comes to marketing metrics, right? So we have to understand and realize the marketing department and organization has to understand and realize that marketing is a means to an end. It's not an end by itself, right? At the end of the day, right, the end for any firm, right, uh, is revenue and profits. Okay, that's the fundamental gospel truth that's out there, whether we like it or not, right? Unless you are a non-profit organization and you're working for charity, for most part, right, firms that are out there, they exist for just two simple reasons, right? Which is growth in revenue and or profits. And so, given that that's the case, right? We have to be cognizant of the fact that marketing is a critical means to that end. And given that it's a means to an end, firms have to put in place all that is necessary to create a strong linkage between marketing outcomes and firm outcomes.
Professor, I would like to conclude this episode with one last question. For a marketing leader listening today who wants to transform their approach and better demonstrate marketing's financial impact, what's the first step they should take? And what would be an integrated marketing finance strategy look like in practice?
Yeah, so I think the first step would be two things. I would say two first steps, okay, or two parts to the first step. One is make sure that your data is squeaky clean. Okay, so it is very important that you have all the data that you can get related to all the touch points that you are doing with your customers. So some of it may be in place, some of it may not be in place. Some of it you may be getting the data, but it may be incorrect, corrupted, or inaccurate, right? So you got to make sure, perform a data audit and make sure that you are capturing all the data points with respect to your customers and all the touch points that the customers are doing with your firm. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is make sure that you have at your disposal all the technology related tools that are out there that can help you execute your marketing programs in the most effective way. So there is a plethora of tools now that are available. The martech space, right, the marketing technology space is exploding. There are bunch of big players, and then there's a long tail of small firms, small to medium sized firms that provide cloud based solutions. uh, Review that very carefully, right, and see what tools are essential to efficiently and effectively execute your marketing program.
Listeners, Dr. Denish Shah has provided compelling evidence that the gap between marketing investment and financial performance is neither inevitable and insurmountable. His systematic approach to measurement, coupled with real-world examples, offer a roadmap for organizations seeking to demonstrate marketing's true strategic value. In an era when CFOs demand accountability and boards scrutinize every dollar spent, frameworks like those presented today are essential. For more information on Dr. Shah's research and publications, please visit the link in the YouTube description. Dr. Denish Shah, we are grateful for your expertise and for advancing this critical conversation about marketing's role in business performance. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.